Hey, you ever feel like the whole world's stacked against you? Like no matter what you do, someone's waiting to knock you down? That's where I was, standing in a courtroom in downtown Atlanta, all of 17 years old, staring down a judge who'd already decided I was nothing but trouble. Judge Clarence Whitaker, robes crisp, gavel heavy, leaned over his bench and sneered. You're just another kid from the wrong side of town. Marcus Ried, no future, no prospects. I stood there, heart pounding like a drum, every eye in that courtroom boring into me. The air was thick, like I was breathing through a straw, but I squared my shoulders and kept my voice steady. May I call my dad, Your Honor? I asked, polite as I could manage. Whitaker's lips curled, like he was enjoying this. Go ahead, boy, if he even picks up. I pulled out my phone, dialed, and the whole room went quiet. Dad? I said, eyes locked on the judge. Judge Whitaker says you didn't raise me right, says you're not around. Can you come to courtroom 5C? My voice didn't shake, not once. The judge chuckled, leaning back like he'd already won. But what he didn't know, what nobody in that room knew, was who was about to walk through that door. Let's rewind a bit, so you can see how I ended up here. That morning, I'd rolled into the Fulton County Courthouse with my science project tucked under my arm, a homemade air quality monitor I'd spent months building for the city's environmental board. It wasn't just some school assignment. This thing was my ticket to showing how the air in my neighborhood, down in Carver Heights, was choking kids like me with asthma, while the fancy suburbs breathed easy. I'd been invited to present my data to the board, a big deal for a high school junior, you know? But the second I hit the security checkpoint, things went sideways. Officer Daniels, this burly guy with a permanent scowl, zeroed in on my device like it was a bomb. What's this contraption? He barked, snatching it from my hands before I could explain. It's an air quality monitor, sir, I said, keeping my cool, for my presentation today. He wasn't listening already, turning it over like he was looking for a hidden switch. Looks suspicious to me, he muttered, then shouted for backup, like I was some kind of threat. 2 more guards showed up, and I could feel the lobby's eyes on Mefix with briefcases gliding through security. No problem. While I stood there, hands up, heart racing. That's when Judge Whitaker strolled by, arms crossed, watching like he was sizing me up. Why aren't you in school, kid? He said, voice dripping with suspicion. I explained, calm, clear about my excused absence, the environmental board meeting, my invite from Dr. Carter. But Whitaker just raised an eyebrow. Environmental board? In my courthouse. We'll see about that. Take him to my courtroom. As the guards marched me off, my project half dismantled in Daniel's hands, I caught a glimpse of a white kid with a science fair board waltzing through security, no questions asked. My phone buzzed a text from my dad. What's going on? I didn't want to worry him. He was already juggling enough. Just security checks, I typed back. No big deal. But deep down, I knew this wasn't about my project anymore. This was something else, something uglier. In Whitaker's courtroom, it was just me, him, and my busted-up device on a table. He didn't even look at it, just scrolled through his phone while I explained what it did, measuring particulate matter in low-income neighborhoods, linking bad air to hospital visits. Sounds like a tall tale. He cut me off, tossing my project notes aside without a glance. Who really built this thing, huh? Where'd you get these parts? I built it myself, I said, voice steady, with grant money from the Georgia Science Fund. His jaw tightened, and he stood, circling the bench like a shark. I've been a judge for 25 years, kid. I've seen every excuse, every scam. This courthouse isn't your playground. Thenbomis' hand slammed the table, sending a sensor from my project crashing to the floor. Months of work, shattered. This could interfere with our systems, he said, picking up a circuit board like it was evidence in a crime. Sir, I said, swallowing hard, that's my research. He laughed, a cold, sharp sound. Research? That's what you call it. We're holding this for inspection. You can wait in the hall. I asked for a receipt, just to cover myself, and his smile faltered. Getting legal advice, are we? he snapped, waving me out. Out in the hallway, time was slipping away. My presentation was in 20 minutes, and security wouldn't let me near the meeting room without Whitaker's say-so. That's when Dr. Carter, this kind-eyed scientist who'd invited me, spotted me. "Marcus, what's going on? You're our keynote." When I told him Whitaker had my project, his face went tight. "That's ridiculous. Come with me." Back in the courtroom, Whitaker was on a call, holding up a finger to make us wait. But Dr. Carter wasn't having it. "Judge Whitaker, Marcus is our invited presenter. His project's been vetted." Whitaker barely looked up. "This kid brought unauthorized equipment into my courthouse. It's a security risk." Dr. Carter pushed back, saying it was just a science project, but Whitaker cut him off. "You know where he's from? You checked his background." I felt my face burn, but I kept it together. "I'm from Atlanta, born and raised," I said. Whitaker just snorted, like that explained everything. He finally let me go to the meeting without my project or slides, saying, "Maybe you'll learn to plan better next time, kid." Walking into that conference room, empty-handed, was like stepping into a lion's den. 12 board members, plus a crowd of observers, all staring at me. I took a deep breath, apologized for the mix-up, and started talking straight from memory. "My project tracks air quality in neighborhoods like mine," I said, sketching diagrams on a borrowed notepad. "Over 6 months, I found pollution levels 3 times higher in Black and Latino areas than in richer suburbs. It's not just air, it's hospital visits, kids with asthma, lives cut short." The room went quiet, then leaned in. I drew charts, explained my methods, showed how the data tied pollution to emergency room spikes. When I finished, the board actually clapped. Dr. Lawson, the chair, called my work remarkable and asked where my project was. "Judge Whitaker's holding it," I said carefully. Her frown said it all. "We'll look into that." Later, in a bathroom stall, the adrenaline crashed hard. My hands shook as I called my dad, leaving a voicemail. "Something happened, Dad. They took my project, but I pulled through. Could use your advice." Back in the courtroom, Whitaker was dragging his feet, saying security needed days, maybe weeks, to check my device. Dr. Carter argued, but Whitaker just smirked. "Should have thought twice about bringing that thing here." That night, I got a text from an unknown Namera courthouse worker, someone who'd seen it all go down. "Your project's marked for disposal tomorrow." Sorry, man. My stomach dropped. Months of data proof that my neighborhood was being poisoned about to be trashed. I called my uncle, Trey, a lawyer in Savannah. "Document everything," he said. "Names, times, what they said. I'm making calls." By morning, I was back at the courthouse, armed with paperwork proving my project was legit. Whitaker saw me on the steps and froze. "Persistent, aren't you?" he said, brushing past. "Sir, my project's set to be destroyed today," I said, holding out my documents. He barely glanced at them. "File it with the clerk." "I'm busy." I stepped in his path, not aggressive, just firm. "I've documented everything, Your Honor. If my work's destroyed without due process, I'll escalate this." His eyes narrowed. "You threatening me, kid?" "No, sir," I said, calm as ever. "I'm exercising my rights." He got red in the face, called for Officer Daniels. "This boy's causing a disturbance. Escort him out." Daniels grabbed my papers, saying they looked fraudulent. That's when a courthouse admin rushed up. "Judge, urgent call for you." Whitaker stormed off, muttering, "This isn't over." I sat outside, refusing to budge, when a woman approached Lila Brooks, a public defender with sharp eyes and a no-nonsense vibe. "You've been here all day," she said. "What's up?" I laid it all out. Me project, Whitaker's vendetta, the disposal threat. She shook her head. "Whitaker's got a reputation. Let me make a call." She got through to court admin, who confirmed my project was already in the basement, headed for the shredder. We raced down there, but the guard blocked us. No entry without a judge's order. Through a window, I saw my projectile torn apart, sitting on a table. Lila argued, but Whitaker appeared, smug as ever. That device is a security risk, my call, he said. Lila fired back. Based on what evidence? He just waved us off. My courtroom, my rules. You're banned, Reed. As we were escorted out, I saw Whitaker pick up a hammer, heading for my project. He's gonna smash it himself, I whispered. Lila's jaw clenched. Now we know it's personal. Outside, she made calls to other judges, but no one would touch Whitaker's case. My phone rang, Dad, finally. Marcus, they're destroying your work? Put me on speaker. His voice boomed through the air. This is James Reed. Lila, take Marcus back inside. Demand to see Whitaker. If they stop you, have them call this number. He rattled off a government extension. Lila raised an eyebrow, but nodded. At security, the guard tried to block us, saying I was banned. Lila held up the number. Call it. The guard did, and his face went pale. Yes, sir. Right away. We were ushered to Whitaker's chambers. He stood behind his desk, my project in front of him, hammer still nearby. This is harassment, he snapped. Lila held up her phone. We've got instructions to call this number if you don't return Marcus's property. Whitaker scoffed, but I saw a flicker of doubt. Some low-level bureaucrat doesn't scare me, he said, grabbing the phone. He dialed, announced himself, and then his face went white. Yes, sir, he stammered. I understand. He hung up, hands shaking, and muttered, Your property's yours, Reed. Take it. I wasn't letting him off that easy. In its original condition, with all data intact, I said. He nodded, avoiding my eyes. As we left, my phone rang again. Dad, on speaker. Is it resolved, son? Yes, Dad, thanks. Good. Put Whitaker on. The judge took the phone, his smugness gone. This is James Reed, U.S. Attorney General, Dad said, voice like steel. I'm in Atlanta tomorrow, 9 a.m., to discuss your treatment of my son and what looks like a pattern of misconduct. Clear your docket. Whitaker nearly dropped the phone. Lila stared at me, jaw slack. Your dad's the Attorney General? I nodded. He got appointed last year. We don't talk about it much. The next morning, news vans swarmed the courthouse. Word was out the Attorney General was coming. Inside, Whitaker was sweating, pacing his chambers, on the phone with a senator he thought had his back. You promised me protection, he hissed, but the line went dead. Dad and I walked in through a private entrance, FBI agents at our sides. You okay? He asked. Better now, I said. I didn't mean for all this. He squeezed my shoulder. You stood your ground. I'm proud. In a conference room, Lila and Justice Department folks laid out the evidence maps of Atlanta, red zones showing where air quality was worst, matching up perfectly with Whitaker's harshest sentences against black and brown defendants. Phone records tied him to Senator Grayson, whose real estate empire profited off those same polluted neighborhoods. My project wasn't just data, it was proof of a rigged system. Whitaker walked in, trying to play it cool. This is all a misunderstanding, he said. Dad didn't blink. This isn't about Marcus's project. It's about 20 years of your rulings, favoring Grayson's developments, letting pollution slide in poor neighborhoods, and slamming minorities with longer sentences. The evidence was brutal charts, calls, bank records. Whitaker's lawyer tried to object, but it was like shouting into a hurricane. Whitaker cracked, voice shaking. I want immunity. His lawyer looked like he wanted to disappear. Dad slid a document across the table. You're on administrative leave, Judge. The Ethics Committee meets this afternoon. Prepare yourself. That evening, news hit hard. Whitaker suspended, Grayson resigning, his company's tanking. The EPA launched probes in a dozen cities. My project, rebuilt and stronger, got a full presentation the next day, FBI agents guarding the room. Dr. Lawson called my data a game changer and offered to fund a citywide rollout. 3 months later, I was speaking in D.C. at a national conference, my monitor on display like a trophy. This isn't just about clean air, I told the crowd. It's about who gets to breathe, who gets justice. The room erupted, and Dad, sitting front row, just nodded, like he'd known all along I could do this. A year down the line, my neighborhood's different trees where there used to be trash, air monitors on every corner, asthma rates dropping. The courthouse has a new plaque for an environmental justice board, sparked by what they're calling the Reed case. Whitaker's doing community service, cleaning up the same streets he helped poison. Grayson's in court, his empire crumbling. I never set out to take down a judge or a senator. I just wanted to prove my neighborhood deserved better. But standing up, even when they tell you to know your place, can crack a system wide open. It's not just me, Lila, Dr. Carter, my dad. Even that courthouse worker who tipped me off, they all stood up too. So what's your take? Ever seen someone try to silence the truth in your town? Drop a comment. Tell me your story, because this fight's not over, and it's not just mine. Share this if it hit you. If you think one voice can shake things up. Because trust might can.